supply chain has to be the heart of our business, and it's overlooked sometimes from a perspective of energy transition, because that focuses a lot on new turbines rather than existing.
So, Phil, you're here at All Energy. You were just speaking about how busy the show is, how much of a sort of buzz there is in the room. I see a little bee actually on your lapel. Buzz is maybe the right word that we'll keep with. So, when it comes to that, how have you found the show? How have you been finding things?
Yeah, the show's really busy this year. I think actually it's probably the busiest I've seen it anyway. It's definitely in recent years. So stand's been very busy, been a lot of interest. It's good.
And are you gonna tell me about any exclusives? Are you gonna tell me, oh, we've just signed a massive contract and you're getting the exclusive on it, or
No massive contracts yet. Maybe tomorrow.
maybe tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, there's the day is still young, and so is the show.
Exactly.
But you did make a massive announcement. Speaking of massive contracts, massive announcement. This morning, you were speaking about expanding your supply chain engagement. You were speaking about sort of expanding across the UK to key regions. Can you just tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the challenges that the industry's facing on supply chain, we decided to try and get in front of it.
Yeah.
Brexit's caused some challenges in recent years, and also supply chain has to be the heart of our business, and it's overlooked sometimes from a perspective of energy transition, because that focuses a lot on new turbines rather than existing. Now, even if we increase availability by a couple of percent, that's a huge turnaround on generation. So we decided to tackle it by partnering with GDS.
Yeah.
So we have dedicated vehicles now. If you get a chance, go and have a look at our lorry that's quite boldly parked at the food village.
Are you the only lorry on the show floor? I think you might be.
We're the only lorry on the show floor, and I think I can be bold enough to say we're actually the only ISP that has an official partnership.
So that's quite a bold sort of direction to take. It's very interesting because you're expanding at a time where we are still hearing, even though there is a buzz in the room and we had a record-breaking allocation round 7, both on and offshore, there are still sort of constraints hitting the supply chain. There are still inflationary pressures on developers. Why was now the right time to expand your sort of offering, expand where you're moving to? What's caused that decision?
I think for us it's because our future pipeline is really strong at the moment. It's up at around 2 gigawatts, and now feels like the right time to bed in a new system. We took the view of looking at what we do very well, which is maintaining turbines, dealing with the stock. What we quite openly think we don't do very well is logistics. And to try and streamline our operation, also improve our carbon footprint, we decided to go with a professional logistics company, one that consolidates our loads and cuts down on the use of multiple vehicles, i.e. vans. So I think now's a good time as we're growing. We've had a very successful 4 years. That looks to be growing rapidly. I think now's the right time.
And so how important is it when we do see these sort of supply chain pressures in the renewable energy market for companies to maybe take a lesson from Full Circle and say, well, we should be accepting the things we're not good at and addressing them? And is that something that when you're speaking with your fellow business leaders, does that cause a bit of worry when you first suggest we should tell people we're not good at logistics and look to sort of fix that with partners? Or was that an easy decision to make, and should people be adopting that kind of idea?
Yeah, I think before we launched this, I pitched it to the board of directors in Full Circle, and it was probably a 50-50 response of yes, it's a great idea versus I'm not sure. So we went through the pros and cons, and in the end it was a resounding yes, we should do this. We've spent 4 months on this project, really integrating GDS into our systems. So they're not just a partner, a partner's used widely. They're actually embedded in the business. Really helps with our SLAs. We've got more control of the parts, and just generally it feels better. My supply chain team are less stressed because they're not focused on logistics anymore. It was the biggest stressor for them. along with the customs paperwork, cross-country documentation.
So does that just allow the managers within your company to, instead of worrying about the logistics of saying, like, oh, we need to make sure this van's here and how many vehicles we have on the road and so on and so forth, they get to do what they were promoted into their roles for, which is their expertise in operations?
Yeah, exactly that. And the other thing it saved us from doing is making supply chain 24 hours, because obviously we have teams 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So stuff needs to move through the night,
Right.
whereas GDS is set up to do that.